So we were already in studio, and I'm so excited to be on location today.
Yeah, this is really cool. So we have a special guest with us, Mitch Flynn, who is the founder of the Ride for Roswell. We are so thankful that you are here to join us today.
Good to be here.
So thank you. You actually rode your bike in.
I did.
Which made me feel lazy,
Oh.
but that's okay.
Well, it made me feel sweaty.
Yeah. I mean,
You look good. You can pull it off.
Thank you.
Yes. So thanks for joining us. You know, we would love to learn from you a bit about the ride.
Sure.
And how it came about. Like, how did you think of this?
Well, it was two different things happening kind of in parallel with each other. And like a lot of people in our community, we had a cancer experience in our family, and that was for my father-in-law, Jack Goldstein, who passed in 1991. So we went through that whole process with him and saw how profoundly cancer will affect a family, community, affects everybody in all different kinds of ways. So we had that experience. I gave the eulogy at his funeral, so we were very close in that sense. At the same time, I'd been recruited by Ann Joya, the founder of the Roswell Park Alliance, to join that group. And they both, my father-in-law's passing, and the invitation from Ann both happened in 1991. So there was a silver lining to the passing of Jack by way of Ann's invitation. So I became a member of this volunteer group called the Roswell Park Alliance with 50 other people. And I really had nothing to do. I didn't know what to do with the invitation. You show up at a black tie dinner. It was okay, but I wasn't really engaged. So I had been biking really most of my life since college. I biked across country in 1975 and had met a lot of people, and I thought, oh, maybe a bike event, a fundraiser would be a good fit. So I proposed that in August of 1995. After a lot of hemming and a lot of hawing and some more hemming and some more hawing, we got to go ahead to do it. So that year, 1995, 1996 was the prep year. 1996 was the first event. We attracted 1,000 people and raised $100,000, which was at that time hitting it out of the park.
Impressive.
Yeah, we
First year.
didn't know what to expect at all, and we had a great result. So it told us that we had good potential, and here we are in 2023. This is the 28th year of the event. I started the event when I was 10 years old. You can tell.
Yeah.
So, anyway, so I've been very involved with it. My ad agency, Flynn and Friends, donated all the creative for it for the first 15 years. So we launched it, we branded it, we did all the things that you needed to do to get a new enterprise off the ground. So
and this is the logo?
This is the logo, yeah. Shall I tell you the story about this?
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please.
So this came about 7 or 8 years ago through the efforts. We designed the logo, but another volunteer ran with the ball, so to speak, and created this element, which is a torch. I don't know if you can see the bowl at the top. And this is the ceremonial torch for Ride Weekend, which is a Friday and a Saturday.
And this year it's what day?
June 24th is the Saturday, June 23rd is the Friday. Friday, several things happen leading up to the lighting of this torch. It's like the Olympics. You know, if you just think of the Olympics, it's really what it is. Yeah, and in the Olympics, they run the torch from city to city to get to the destination. We do something similar, same idea. Friday preceding the ride, there are 200 riders who've all raised $2,500 or more who congregate on the street out here on Carlton Street in front of the hospital. And they end up riding 2 by 2 in a police escorted procession from Roswell, here where we are, to UB, which is about 13 miles, going about 10 miles an hour.
Which campus?
To the North Campus.
Oh, all the way to the North.
Yeah, to the North Campus, which is where the ride basically takes place out there. As part of that, we have a small antique kerosene lantern that was the kind of lantern that somebody on a high wheel bike, you know what a high wheel bike looks like, you know?
Right.
would have used if they were crazy enough, A, to ride a high wheel bike, and B, to ride a high wheel bike at night. Okay, so we found one of these on eBay or something like that. So we have a patient light that. I put it on the front of my bike, and we ride out to UB, and then carry the flame to the torch lighter who lights this torch, and that's the big climactic moment of Friday night celebration of hope. So that's just one day of the event. So that's the lead up to it. And then Saturday, which this year is the 24th, there are 9 routes. 8 of them leave from UB, everything from 5 miles to 100 miles. The 9th route leaves here from Roswell and goes to Canada. And it goes across the Peace Bridge. We get a lane of the bridge closed. We have expedited customs. We ride.
Do you have to anything to declare?
Yeah, well, they've.
I mean, do they ask you?
Well, you have to submit your information in advance.
Oh, okay.
So if there's any reason why you couldn't get across, confidentially they say, hey, XYZ, whatever. And we all go across, ride the parkway, come back on the Rainbow Bridge, end up at UB. It's 44 miles. And that's a very popular route of the 9 that take place. So everybody goes out 5 miles, 100 miles, 20, 30, 40, whatever like that, and comes back, big party at the end, chicken dinner. I don't know what we have.
We heard there were massage tents.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No.
Tell us about the massage tent.
How did you hear that?
What year did the massage tent came about?
Well, I think we had them in year 1 actually. And
They've been that
Wow.
long.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah. We have seasoned masseuses, as they say. So anyway, there you can get a massage and get lunch, have a beer,
Right.
see your friends. I have to say it's a really it's an emotional weekend between what happens out here, lighting the lamp, the lighting of the torch. There's a procession of patients and doctors as part of the Friday night celebration of hope. So you have a lot of heart in the event, and then you have a lot of fun on Saturday. This torch is lit and burns the whole weekend. So you see it coming, going, Friday night, and everything like that. So it's the symbol of the event.
And there's a lot of legacy as far as riders. I mean, they come back year after year after year.
Yeah, we have a lot of riders who've done it every year of 28. So there's a small group of people who showed up the first year, which was kind of by luck, I suppose, but then have stuck with it. And we have another group called the Extra Mile Club, who are fundraisers who raise $1,500 or more. So that's about usually 1,000 to 1,500 people will do that. So there's a lot of spark to do that. And you've got those 2 groups and a lot of volunteers. We have about 1,000 to 2,000 volunteers on top of 7,000 or 8,000 riders. So you have basically about 10,000 people getting together for this over 2 days. So it's a lot of people.
I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah.
It's incredible. So as we know, unfortunately, cancer is an illness that continues to affect so many people, and Western New York is so fortunate to have Roswell right here in the
sure.
city.
Yeah.
And this epic event that you've created is truly magnificent. I mean, it is. It's and I know you're talking about how many thousands of people, whether they're riders, donors,
Mm-hmm.
volunteers, they all come together
Oh,
to be part of this weekend, which then the funds raised
Mm-hmm.
goes to support Roswell and the good work that.
Yeah. So let me just talk a little bit about where the money goes and how much money it's raised. So cumulatively, the event has raised about $70 million, and the money goes into 2 buckets. It'll go to a research bucket and a patient care bucket. The research bucket is really the one that is the most fascinating, because it's the researchers here at Roswell in their labs trying to figure out what's going on with cancer and how to come up with treatments and cures. And you can't do that without seed money, and this is seed money to do that. So the progression is seed money, clinical trials, and then ultimately FDA approval. If you get FDA approval, you've basically invented something that will be a drug that will prolong life or cure cancer, et cetera, like many things have done that. So the money will go that way. Now there's a competition factor involved too at Roswell, where scientists and researchers and physicians will do proposals to the Roswell Park Alliance, which is the group that handles the donations, and say, I have this idea for something, and I would like to see if I can get funding from the ride and other events that raise funds for this purpose.
The pot of gold idea.
Well, yeah, exactly, right? It's exactly what it is. And they have a group called the Scientific Advisory Committee, and they meet 2 or 3 times a year, review the proposals, disperse funds to the ones that have the most promise. And so therefore, here's the nitty gritty of, you raise money, you ask your friends, you ask your family, you get donations, and you create this critical mass of funding. But there's the nitty gritty of it, which is how it gets dispersed. So it's a very worked out process and very successful too.
Yeah, amazing. So if someone has not already become involved and they want to, it's not too late, right?
Oh, no.
June 24th is,
Yeah.
you still have time.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that I could probably get on a bike and ride 5 miles.
5 miles.
Yeah, I mean, or you could absolutely do 100.
You could
Stationary bike. Does it count? What if somebody is not
someone
really
wanted to-
athletic and
do
wants
they-
to do a stationary bike?
Well, yeah, that's actually a great question, Bethany, because we do have a category called virtual rider, and you could be a virtual rider, which means
You don't have to be in Buffalo.
you can be anywhere.
That's
And you can be anywhere, and you can just raise funds and not even ride if you want to.
Okay. That feels a little more my
All
speed.
right.
Okay.
All right.
Or you two could get a tandem bike and ride together.
I grew up with a tandem bike.
Did you?
Marnie
You know
had
that?
a
No.
tandem bike right
Yes. Yes, we had a bicycle built for 2
Would you-
forever. I mean, it's probably still my parents.
Did you and Amy ride that, or?
Oh, we did.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. I rode it all the time. All my friends.
Really?
They still ask me, do you have that bicycle built for 2?
Really?
Whatever. I used to ride it with my mom.
Oh, that's fun.
So,
Well, there you go. So,
Right.
So, yeah.
Right.
But I don't
Marnie just opened the door for you. Maybe you didn't want that door opened.
We gotta grease those wheels.
Close that door, Marnie.
Yeah.
Greased
I love
up.
it.
Close that door. So that's a nutshell. So you asked about.
So I want to know, how can people get
Sure.
involved?
Okay. Well, you register online. There's 0 registration fee, so there's really no sweat to do that. It's rideforroswell.org, just the way Roswell is spelled. It takes 5 minutes. You just say what route, your contact information, all the usual kind of stuff like that, and then you're good to go. The event's on June 24th. We encourage everybody to fundraise as much as they can. Email is the best way to do it. You can reach all your contacts that way. Some people go old school, letters in the mail and so forth. I do some of that. And next thing you know, it's Saturday, you're on a bike, you're having fun, you come back, there's a lot of people, great vibe in the air,
Yeah.
everything
Is
like
it
that.
rain or shine?
Rain or shine. Yeah.
And there's so many wonderful companies, I think, that double funds,
Oh.
match donations.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So take
That's-
advantage of that if you're.
Well, that's a really good point. The ride will, from time to time, send an email out one morning early and saying, a company has volunteered to match any donations up to a certain amount, and that is very popular. So you're right, we do get that from time to time. And I should put a plug in for Wester Automotive Group, which is the naming sponsor for the event too, and they've been very generous in that regard also. So yeah,
Is there a car there?
a car at the ride
Yeah. In case someone needs it.
in case your tandem doesn't work out.
You get a flat.
We would
The tandem doesn't make it all the way.
We would have
They're going to be there.
we would have something even better than that.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, no.
Okay.
So
Nice.
yeah.
Perfect.
How many lives do you think the Ride for Roswell has impacted?
Impacted? Oh. Well, Roswell has about 40,000 patients, active day visits in hospital every year. So count 40,000 people to start annually. The ride has probably, over 28 years, had 100 to 150,000 people participate. So count that. And even more so, count all the people that all the riders have reached out to for support. And that, now you're really exponentially looking at how the ride impacts the community, because that number's got to be in the millions in terms of patients, supporters, volunteers, supporters of the fundraisers. So a lot of people, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever think when you were starting this idea that this is where you would be?
No, I didn't. I mean, I get that question all the time. I knew it would raise $1 million at some point. It started with $100,000 in the first year, and I didn't know when that would be. It took 11 years to do that. So 2006 was the first year it broke the $1 million mark. So it was kind of like the hallelujah all of a sudden. But the other thing that happened was, it from being kind of a low-key, let them do what they want project, it got on everybody's radar. And that, from that point, it grew exponentially, which was really great. So it went from 1 million in 2006, 2 million 2 years later, 3 million 2 more years after that, 4 million, 5 million. So the fundraising growth was this arc. And we were we were poised to break the $6 million mark in 2020, right? And of course, we all know what happened in 2020. So we went from 2019 holding our breath for this big moment to, we did okay. I will say we did okay, and that was really a credit to the people who run the event at Roswell. But it was like everything else that happened during the pandemic.
Yeah.
But since then, like everything else since the pandemic, we're back on the upswing. So this year we're again shooting. We're back at that point where we could break 6 million. I don't know if we will or not.
Yeah.
We'll be in the 5s for sure. So that's how that's worked out.
Well, maybe after people listen to this podcast, then we'll break 6.
Yeah.
You know?
So, and I want all your podcast viewers to know they can donate to me if they want to.
Mitch Flynn.
Mitch
You
Flynn.
can
So
donate to
what,
his
do you have a team? Is it called the Mitch Flynn team? What's it called?
Well, I'm a member of a team called Kids Just Want to Have Fun, which was founded by a friend of mine, Joe Curatola. And Joe is a very generous supporter of Roswell. His late wife, Kathy Curatolo, and Joe put money into this park, which started out under the name Pathways Park and now is called the Joe and Kathy Curatolo Pathways Park, thanks to a very generous gift, which really finished off. We had the sculpture down there. You will probably see that later. But we added the seating wall, and we'll go look at that.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I want to take a little walk around so we can see
So
our
peaceful.
surroundings, where we are. But I just want to say that I think that your father-in-law, Jack, continues to be so proud of you.
Oh, that's great.
And the impact that
Thanks.
you've done.
Yeah.
You know, thank you for everything, Mitch.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and I have to throw in a credit to my wife, Ellen, who essentially was the first volunteer, which meant she had to listen to me babble about this when it started. But she really was, and she was one of the first top fundraisers and so forth. So she's part of this too.
yo, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so thank you, Ellen.
Sure. Yeah, thank you, Ellen.
Amazing.
Thank you for putting. Thank you for
supporting Mitch.
putting up with me.
Everything that you do.
So do you train just all year round? Do you get ready for the race?
Well, I teach spinning classes at the Jewish Community Center
Okay.
3 days a week. So I do that for myself and because it's fun. So I suppose in that sense, yes, I do. Although
Do you make up your own music list?
I do.
Do you have a favorite?
Music list? Oh God, I have Marnie. I have hundreds of playlists, hundreds, and I usually try to theme them, and then I play some of the music, and then I ask my class to guess what the theme is, and then I give them a prize. You know, usually a candy bar or something like that.
Oh, you may have
now
just
you're
gotten us.
We're in.
You're in?
We're in.
I should have brought a candy bar today.
Someone's giving out candy.
If I knew it was that easy.
Fine.
If I knew it was that easy,
Yeah,
boy.
no, that's awesome. Thank you, Mitch, for your time.
Thank you.
And
Thank you, Jeff.
In studio with Jeff. Yes. Thanks for getting us out on our bikes.
We appreciate the coaching.
Yes, I can't wait for the massage later. And I hope to see you all getting involved with the Ride for Roswell. rideforroswell.org, and you can decide if you want to be a rider, a donator, or a volunteer, or all three. So thank you so much, Pod Squad.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.